This is a time that if you're not invested, if you're not engaged in politics, there might be something wrong. The point of polls is not to predict. I think the public thinks that we are somehow soothsayers. What we're trying to do is to provide an accurate reflection of where the public is when we poll. Now that can change, and things can change, right? And events come in and they sort of lead the public one way or the other. You're saying polls failed us in 2016.
Well, did they?
No.
Okay.
That being said, a lot of the state polls, and even a lot of the national polls, did make mistakes. One of the central mistakes that they made was not weighting on education. So what we know is that highly educated individuals are more likely to take polls, and those with less education are more wary of polls. And I think that is the lesson to be learned from 2016, that there needs to be a recognition of the true diversity of our population. Since, I would say, 2016, we have seen a significant, linear increase in how much people care about politics. People don't see a way out of this partisan polarization and the candidates that come out of it, and there's generational change. So we have the challenge of what role do this extremely large generation of Americans, coined the baby boomers, how are they going to transition? We have the challenge of racial demographic change. That is an existential threat to some people in the country. We have climate change, right? And so when you talk about existential threats, there's actually a threat to the continuation of the human race. My hope is that, like previous generations, we solve these problems and solve them in ways which reflect our values, reflect our commitment to democracy, and reflect our commitment to continuing the human race. So that's, I think, a reflection of why it is people are much more engaged. It's just an important time, and you got to get off the couch, you got to get away from your phone, you got to get away from your computer, and you got to start thinking about these issues.